We do not often think of projects that are ranked in the top 75 by market cap as under the radar, but hear me out because some of them in fact are. I want to analyze 3 projects today, names that you probably already know. They're not meme coins, they're not on any kind of a hype train, and they're doing well, but they're not succeeding to the extent that they probably should be given the fundamentals and everything that they're doing so well. By no means are they undiscovered gems, but yeah, for being in the top 75, they are still relatively under the radar, and they're certainly worthy of your attention. So I'll be counting down 3 mid-cap under the radar altcoin gems in this video. Welcome to the channel. My name is Maddie and this is Altcoin Buzz. All the best of luck if you choose to invest. I wish you very, very well. I hope it's been going okay and that it gets even better as we continue to progress in this bull run. I mean that genuinely, but either way, I'm not a financial or investment advisor. Just remember that. And also remember that by extension, this video is not official financial or investment advice. Have you checked out our new trading section in Discord yet? Because starting this week, we now have a dedicated trading section to discuss all things altcoins and technical analysis. And on top of that, our very own Cody is giving his personal trading setups that he's actually taking in real time that you can follow along with, as well as educational videos to help you get started with trading. If you're not a trader, don't worry. We have sections on Bitcoin, altcoins, gaming, and NFTs as well. It's all for free. Join us in Discord today. Check out the link in the description below. Let's start off our list here with the #1 coin by market cap in a sector that we're big fans of, RWAs, real world assets. And you'd think the #1 entry in this category would not in any way, shape, or form be under the radar, but at least to a certain extent it is. Just ask anybody, even within the crypto space, what the top project is in RWAs, and they will probably say Ondo Finance because of all the publicity that was granted to them because of the BlackRock news and then the related hype that ensued. And that would be understandable, but the fact is the #1 project by value, by market cap, is not Ondo. It is Mantra. And actually Mantra does something that we're not big fans of, but they do it for a reason that we understand. What I'm getting at here is that they are a permissioned blockchain, meaning that users of the chain need to KYC or KYB for businesses. For RWA tokenization, this actually might be one of the areas of crypto where permission chains make sense. A regulated product, like a mutual fund, for example, or an ETF in the US, an ETP in the UK, that kind of a product needs to know that if it comes on chain for financing or tokenization, that it can do so and be compliant with the regulators at home. They want as little friction as possible because otherwise it's simply not worth it for them to enter that space if they have to deal with fines and court costs and all those associated headaches. A permission chain allows for projects and users with certain credentials and qualifications to buy into these projects. The KYC and AML, that's anti-money laundering, compliance of the chain means these projects can list on Mantra when maybe they couldn't on a more fully decentralized chain. And so there is an advantage here. There is an incentive to work with them. Permission chains should likely get huge volume compared to permissionless chains in RWA, since of course TradFi can use them with confidence. And even with this permission stuff, it's important to understand that this is all about buying a piece of a tokenized RWA investment listed on Mantra. It is not about buying Mantra's native token, OM, which you may be interested in, but it goes beyond that. Anyone can do that if you have a Cosmos compatible wallet like Kepler, Leap, or Cosmos Station. That being said, though, I don't want to downplay the token too much because its performance has been impressive. It's up 6% or so on the day, a little bit more than that. If we look at the last 90 days, it's up something like 35%. And check this out. If we zoom out and take a look at the last year, it's up about 6,000% in the last 12 months. That translates effectively to a gain from a price of 2 cents to where we sit now of $1.70. So a little bit of quick math from 2 cents to 170 cents. That is 85 times. Check my numbers there. Yeah, I think that's an 85x. These are huge gains, both in token price and perhaps even more importantly in terms of adoption of the chain by TradFi, traditional finance, meaning it's still flying under the radar compared to other projects like Ondo, for example. Mantra is doing really well. It does occupy the #1 RWA spot, but it's certainly not a household name. And so its best and brightest days are still very much ahead. Okay, here's one that is not in the top 75 by market cap, but is still one that we want to highlight as very much an under-the-radar gem. We're talking about Seedworld here, and this is where gaming and this very important new narrative of user-generated content, or UGC, converge. And it's pretty cool because with Seedworld, you can actually build out part of a game section that everyone else gets to play. And this becomes, therefore, the ultimate community-based gaming platform. We talked about this project a couple of weeks ago at the beginning of November for coins that we think can pump. Their SWORLD token, that's SWORLD, which is in its early days from its recent IGO on Seedify, is also now available on PancakeSwap. That means you can both swap it there and earn it by staking the DEX native Cake, C-A-K-E token, which is a pretty good deal all around. We've also been talking regularly this month about the growing popularity of memes, and that's very much feeding into the community-based nature of this project. And by extension, the team has done some pretty cool giveaways, like this one here, for example, of 250,000 SWORLD. And the fact is, the team is pretty likely to do more of these kinds of initiatives because the community is so vital to their UGC and for the growth of the game as well. And specifically, Seedworld is strongly encouraging community growth through staking and farming incentives as well. Some of these include the Season 2 incentive of 100 million tokens, or more than $600,000 worth of SWORLD. If you're into gaming, if you're into community-based games, this is a game and a community, very simply, that you should be checking out. They reward their community very generously. Check out their socials, as well as their Discord group in particular. That's what I'd recommend. But these have all the details that you'll need to check out in order to get started. Okay, the second under-the-radar mid-cap gem in the top 75 by crypto market cap is not even a mid-cap. This is a big boy. It's in the top 5. Which you wouldn't think would be hidden at all, but in a way it is. We're talking about BNB here, which, as I record, has a $90 billion market cap. So it's massive. But if we consider the top 5, for context here, we're talking about Bitcoin and Ethereum, and then we have 1 or 2 top stablecoins, at least until recently, because there's been some shuffling here. Tether, USDT, is still in the top 5. But USDC has actually dropped down a couple pegs, not really because of any volatility in terms of its value, but we have big movers and shakers in the form of Dogecoin and XRP that have been rising very aggressively this week. And so just below Sol, we have BNB that rounds out the top 5 in terms of the largest crypto market caps. And BNB keeps chugging along. It keeps doing its thing. Its success, of course, is tied directly to the success of Binance, which is a great thing because it is still by far the biggest crypto exchange. Some would say the best. I guess that depends on your preferences. But if we try to quantify things and we look at this by the numbers, no one even comes close. We have Binance here, and depending on the metric you want to use, it's just multiple times bigger than its next closest rival, which is Bybit. And there has been some negative news that just hasn't really affected the success of Binance or really even the price of BNB. It didn't matter that CZ had to step down as CEO. That was last year, almost a year ago, actually, in November of 2023. It also didn't seem to matter that he had to go to jail for a few months. Binance and BNB just kept moving ahead. And arguably another part of their success is the fact that in order to list a new token on Binance, which again, by the numbers, is the biggest and most successful exchange, part of the listing agreement requires buying and staking BNB. Not a lot of people know that. If you're not really tuned into the industry, it's a little bit of a secret, a well-known secret, I suppose, an open secret. But a lot of people didn't know that. That's certainly a factor here. And this is not an illegal or artificial way to create demand like FTX did for their token. BNB already had and has value aside from this. Using it for token listing agreements is kind of just a bonus. Whatever you may think of that, it's not its sole function. It also means that BNB is more distributed to more owners and more widely held than most projects. That is also good. That translates into a lower likelihood of timed bulk selling of tokens, even on bad news. And furthermore, other than some of the meme coins like Doge, BNB has the most active burn program in the industry. They just completed their 29th consecutive quarterly burn here. This time they burned 1.7 million BNB, which is worth a lot, almost $1 billion. BNB is down slightly on the day, but if we zoom out a little bit, it's had a great quarter and a great year, sitting right now at $619, kind of coming up to new all-time high territory if we zoom out to the max chart here. Many will not remember, or maybe you've forgotten, that Binance's stated goal for BNB is to drop the total supply from 200 million all the way down to 100 million as a final total supply number. Right now, we're sitting at 145.8 million, but the plan is in action and seems to be working. If you're bullish on Binance keeping its leadership position, generally speaking, then by extension, you also have to be bullish on BNB as well. And we don't often talk about it, but as more and more people get into the space, more and more projects gain popularity, all of a sudden BNB just keeps increasing in relevance and in value. It is simply one of the best managed projects in crypto. Altcoin Buzz Alpha members have just scored a massive win in the form of a 6x on their investment with this altcoin DPIN gem. Back in May, we were lucky enough to purchase one of the most important DPIN projects in cryptocurrency today. That is Peak. PEAQ. This is a project whose TGE just happened and they pulled off a 5x. They're still growing. And we also expect Peak to be a major name in this upcoming bull cycle. Our peak purchase price was 7.9 cents and the purchase volume was 8,830 peak. The current price right now is 50 cents. Token generation event distribution is 15%. That is 1,324 peak. So we're going to sell 1,000 peak and stake the rest, and we'll get $500 in profit. And this is pure profit, by the way, meaning alpha members can enjoy $500 and spend it on family or whatever they want. And then we're going to play with the remaining 90% peak holding. You're going to want to know how to use Coinlist because Peak will be dropped in your Coinlist wallet. You go to Home, select Peak, select Pro Trading, then send Peak to Pro Trading. Go to Pro Trading and trade. Now, if you do not have Peak, be advised that it's relatively new, but getting anywhere into the project at below 30 cents is probably a good deal. Peak's vesting is good, and so we don't foresee any major dumps. Now, for US citizens, you're going to want to check if Coinlist is available in your state. If not, you will need to wait for a DEX. We're going to update you once Peak launches on a decentralized exchange. Check out the description below for information about bridging and staking. I have a couple of links that I'll pop in there. And also check out altcoinbuzz.io for our detailed article on staking and bridging. I'm going to include all of that detailed information in the description below. The fact of the matter is, if you are not an Altcoin Buzz Alpha member, you are missing out. All right, last but not least for today, at number 4 here, we are looking at Optimism, ticker OP, which actually kind of seems, just in terms of observations, like it's everywhere right now. That begs the question, how can this be hidden? How can this be under the radar? The Optimism stack and superchain are all over. Uniswap's new Unichain is on the OP stack, so is Coinbase's Base and Binance's Layer 2 OP-BNB. Sony's Layer 2, Sonium, is on the superchain as well. The Optimism superchain is rapidly becoming the place to launch Layer 2s, utility apps, and DeFi. So this is all amazing stuff. Lots of good things are happening in the world of Optimism. But again, how is it hidden? How is it under the radar in any way? First of all, when most people think of Base, they think of the Base chain itself and then Coinbase after that. They do not think about it in terms of being built on Optimism. But when you do think about it, Cosmos is having the same issue. There are some fantastic projects over there like Osmosis, DYDX, Injective, Akash, others as well. But people don't think of them as Cosmos projects, and not much of that value is coming back in the end through to help Atom grow, ATOM. Atom is roughly flat here in the last 3 months, and check this out. If we look at the last year, it's actually down 50% or so in the last 12 months. And that's despite hosting and helping all of those other projects that I mentioned. And the ones that I did mention certainly don't constitute an exhaustive list. Now, despite the positive market conditions that we're currently experiencing, we have some similarities here with Optimism's OP token, albeit not quite as bad as Atom. OP is up marginally, about 15% or so in the last 3 months, in the last 90 days. But if we zoom out to the last year, As you can see here, it's down about 10% or so over the last 12 months. So really, at best, you could say its performance has been uneven and certainly disappointing to most. One of the superchain's best features for builders is that you can create a custom gas token for your project. And that means that you are not dependent on holding ETH. That's good, but it also means that you're not depending on holding OP either. That is less good. OP is in a huge downtrend, really ever since hitting its all-time high of $4.84 about 8 months ago in March. But I think it's clear that that's not a function of how well the project itself is performing and where it finds itself in the market. Really, we're talking here about product market fit, or PMF. And the PMF case is clearly growing for light, fast layer 2s, even if all it did was to help host and launch Base. That alone is a huge contribution to the growth of crypto adoption really around the world as people jump from Coinbase to Base Chain. The price of the OP token is just not reflecting how successful this project is and has been. And very simply, I expect that to change soon, especially when altcoin season kicks in.